Hi, boys and girls in pre-K. It's Mrs. Davis. We are going to be talking about trees and plants and fruits this week, and I have a lesson to do with you today about the parts of a plant and the function of each of those parts. Now, every plant has four important parts, and they are the roots, the stem, the leaves, and the flower. Now, one of the most common plants is a flower, so that's what I'm going to be talking about today. And I actually have a flower here. And I wanted to show you that the roots, which obviously have been cut off because these are fresh cut flowers, but the roots and the stem and the leaves of this plant are called the vegetative parts. That means all the parts except for the flower. But the flower, or we call it fruits or the seeds, are the part of the plant that we call the reproductive part. That's where more flowers or plants can come from. So we are going to talk about all of those parts today, and I am going to build a flower for you. So let's start with the part of the plant that is under the ground. You might know what that is. Did you guess the roots? You are right. So here are some roots, and I'm going to label it with our label, roots. And the roots have an important job, boys and girls. The roots are the part of the plant that is underground that absorbs water and minerals from the soil, and it also anchors the plant in the ground. Now the next part, maybe you guessed, is the part that is sticking out of the ground, and that is called the stem. I'm going to label that right there with the stem. And the stem is what supports the plant above the ground, and it also carries water and minerals to the leaves. So I'm going to put on our leaves because that's another important part. And I wanted to show you an experiment that I did over here so that I can show you how the stem and the leaves, or excuse me, the roots and the stem do their job. So I took some celery, and you can do this at home. Ask mom or dad to cut some celery for you. You want a nice fresh cut at the bottom, and then you want to take a look at the bottom because you can see that there's some little small holes. Do you see those? They're called capillaries. They're hollow. They're almost like a straw. And that's how water can go up the celery stem and to the leaves of the celery. So I'm going to put it back in my jar, and what I did was, boys and girls, I put some water in my jar and I colored it with some blue food coloring so we can see if the celery is doing its job. So it's taking the water from its roots up through its stem, and we'll know if it's doing its job if it's getting water to the leaves. How will we know that? Well, since I did blue food coloring, boys and girls, you can see, look at these leaves. They've turned blue. They were green, but all around the edges you can see that blue food coloring. So the roots and the stem did their job. They took water to the rest of the plant. Okay, so now let's label our leaves here on our diagram. So we have our roots, the part that's underground, our stem that holds our plant, our leaves, and I wanted to tell you a little bit more about the leaves. The leaves collect energy from the sun, and they make food for the rest of the plant. They do this by using an amazing process called photosynthesis. That's a process by which green plants use sunlight and carbon dioxide, the air that we breathe, and water to make food. Pretty cool. The leaves also have something called chlorophyll, and that's something that gives the pigment of the leaves, or the leaves their pigment, that green color. That's called chlorophyll. All right, now the last part is the bright, beautiful part of the plant that we see, and that is called the flower. So I am going to build my flower today. I'm going to put a center in my flower. I'm going to add my petals, super important. And I am going to tell you a little bit more about the flower. So there is my flower, and I will label it so that we know that part. And there is the flower. So the bright, beautiful part of the plant that we see is the flower, and it plays a very important part in making food. They produce the seeds that become new plants. And most plants, including many trees, grow some kind of flower. Okay? So boys and girls, I hope that you enjoyed learning about the parts of a plant today and its job. And if you would like to label a plant, you can visit our newsletter that we sent out this week. There is a website that mom or dad can click on and print up a worksheet, and you can color a flower and cut out the words, those four parts, the roots, the stem, the leaves, and the flowers, and you can label a part of a plant as well. I hope you enjoyed learning about the parts, boys and girls, and and their jobs. And I hope you have a fun week. I'll see you again soon. Bye.